Hi, beauty boy. You caught me taking a drink of water before I start the book. In fact, I think I'm going to get another little drink. One moment. One moment. Walking over here, getting a little ice. Squeeze of lemon. It's very hot outside, and it felt like that would be refreshing. Can't even. Oh, you can see me. And a touch of water. Well, a drink of water, a touch of lemon. It's more correct. And here we go. Sorry for the little detour, my man. Ah, superbe, 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 superbe. Bon, maintenant, est-ce que tu préfères un livre en français au sujet d'un chat qui parle ou peut-être un autre en anglais, Rumpelstilkin's daughter? Oh, this one? Okay, we'll read this one. I'll put the light on. Rumpelstilkin's daughter. Et voilà. Funny picture on the front. Fortunately, people don't have hair like that anymore. That could get a little bit warm. Or clothes like this. That could get a little bit warm. Oh my goodness me. Oh, that's his outfit. That's quite an outfit. And there's her spinning wheel. And as a refresher, Rumpelstiltskin's daughter supposedly could spin straw into gold. Now, I don't know if they meant straw or flax, but flax is how they make linen, and flax is a plant like straw. And it's they spin that, and it makes fiber, and the fiber is called linen when they weave it. Now, one other little thing that you may not have known, well, you probably do, but the expression the distaff side of the family, which usually is used to refer to the females in the family, comes from the word distaff is the part on some spinning wheels that I don't have, but that some wheels have the regular wheel, and then above it is sort of a elongated thing on which there's clumps of filaments of the things that look like straw but thinner, which is the flax. So when you spin flax into linen, you use the distaff. Very interesting, right? Onward with the book. Rumpelstiltskin's Daughter by Diane Stanley. And this spinning wheel does not have a distaff on it. Nor does this one, but we'll see. Oh, looks, it begins with postcards and coins and various things, so let's read it and see what we find. Okay. Mr. and Mrs. R. McKengeld, The Cottage, Wayfair, Kingdom, 003927. The coins, it's hard to tell what country they're from. Dearest Mom and Dad, don't worry, I'm okay, but you'll never guess where I am. Here's a hint. Mom spent 2 nights here a long time ago. If it weren't for Dad, she might still be here. Got it? Right. And you know who hasn't changed a bit. But relax, I have it all under control. It's sort of an adventure, and if it all works out, there shall be some big changes soon. More later, and don't worry. Love and kisses. H. Intriguing. There's one more postcard. But notice a few things. The stamp has that king there. This stamp as well. These are like filaments of like straw, but notice the gold chain, the gold necklace, and the thin gold wire that's been spun. Here as well. Like thread, like you would spin on a spinning wheel, but usually straw doesn't turn into that. I have to cough. Hold on a second. If it's that little, there's a woodchuck lives under the porch. Oh, good, that's not a woodchuck, that's Gabby. Whew. Okay, continuing. There's one more postcard before the book begins, and it says, "Hi, Mom and Dad. Everything is going like clockwork. In fact, it's almost too easy. Our beloved ruler is about as smart as a bunch of asparagus. He has this dog that yaps all the time, and these guards lurking around everywhere, gnashing their teeth and waving their swords around. He hides in here away from the people, 'cause they all hate him for being so greedy. But not for long. Look out for big changes. I miss you, your loving daughter, H." So we can tell that something's in the offing. Okay, here is the first page of the book. And at some point, you'll read the actual story, Rumpelstiltskin, or Rumpelstiltskin's daughter, whatever it's called. But this is a different version. Once there was a miller's daughter who got into a heap of trouble. Pardon me. So many interruptions. Alas. But, oh, what's that? I love this book. Pardon me. Oh, my goodness me. I reached for a napkin that had a few sample nuts in it. Whoa, no comment. Okay. Once there was a miller's daughter who got into a heap of trouble. It was all because her father liked to make up stories and pass them off as truth. Unfortunately, the story he told was that his daughter could spin straw into gold, which of course she could not. Even more unfortunately, he told this whopper in the hearing of a palace servant who rushed right off to tell the king. Since the king loved nothing in this world more than gold, he had the miller's daughter hauled up to the palace immediately and made her an offer she couldn't refuse. He put her in a room full of straw and ordered her to spin it into gold by morning, or die. Empty bobbins, a basket full of empty bobbins. The king's shoes are worth looking at. His skinny little legs, his touche, and his hair. Okay, let's see. By one of those unlikely coincidences so common in fairy tales, no sooner had the king closed and bolted the door than a very small gentleman, I lost my place, showed up and revealed that he really could spin straw into gold. Furthermore, he offered to do it in exchange for her necklace, which was made of gold tone metal and wasn't worth 10 cents. Naturally, she agreed. Next page. The next morning, the king was so overjoyed with his room full of gold that he rewarded the miller's daughter by doubling the amount of straw and repeating his threat. Once again, Rumpelstiltskin, for that was his name, arrived to help her out. This time, she gave him her cigar band pinky ring. Cigar band is a little piece of paper that's quite elaborately decorated, but it's still a piece of paper that they wrap around cigars. And I made a mistake in the beginning. Rumpelstiltskin is not her father. Her father is a miller. What do millers make? flour, right? They mill uh, wheat into flour. We'll look it up for sure. But Rumpelstiltskin is the little man that comes to help her, the one who can spin into straw. And he makes these very remarkable trades with her. Next page. The king in an even more elaborate outfit. He does like his baubles. These are the pictures, but now I'll read the story. The words tell us the story. The pictures sometimes do, but the words really help. Okay, after this second success, the king was practically apoplectic with greed. He proceeded to empty every barn in the neighborhood of straw and to fill the room with it. This time, he added a little sugar to sweeten the pot. That is an expression. It means to make it more enticing. If she turned it all into gold, he would make her his queen. You can just imagine how the miller's daughter was feeling when Rumpelstiltskin popped in for the third time. "That's quite a pile," he said. "I suppose you want me to spin it into gold." "Well, the situation has changed just a bit," said the miller's daughter, who also had a name. It was Meredith. That's a pretty name. "If you don't, I will die. If you do, I marry the king." Now that, thought Rumpelstiltskin, has possibilities. That's one way of looking at it, and not the way I was looking at it. After all, getting to be the queen was a big step up for a miller's daughter. She would surely pay him anything, and there was only one thing in the world he really wanted: a little child to love and care for. Well, that's interesting. Little Rumpelstiltskin would like a little child. "Okay, here's the deal," he said. "I will spin the straw into gold, just like before. In return, once you become queen, you must let me adopt your firstborn child. I promise I'll be an excellent father. I know all the lullabies. I'll read to the child every day. I'll even coach Little League." "You've got to be kidding," Meredith said. "I'd rather marry you than that jerk." Now, how can a book that uses the word apoplectic on one page use the word jerk at the bottom? Couldn't they find a kind of more literary word? But alas, the author gets to choose what the author chooses. But this picture's worth another look. This guy is truly not very attractive. Alas, she looks woebegone. It's funny, but this image here, this arch and the straw and the stars, that's exactly how I remember Rumpelstiltskin's story from when I was little. That was a long time ago, but that's the image I remember. Perhaps that's what is in the original story, which does seem to be the case, because look at they're up in a tower, so that would be the view from the tower. Okay, continuing. But it's really beautiful looking at this drawing from above, like we're looking down at the castle, or whatever this is, with the turrets and the towers and everything, and the drawbridge. And "Really?" said Rumpelstiltskin, and he blushed all the way from the top of his head to the tip of his toes, which admittedly wasn't very far because he was short. That was when she said she'd rather marry him than the king. "Sure," she said, "I like your ideas on parenting. You'd make a good provider, and I have a weakness for short men." Tee hee. No, I'm sorry, I'm just laughing. So Rumpelstiltskin spun a golden ladder and they escaped out the window. They were married the very next day and lived happily together, far, far away from the palace. Here's the picture of them climbing down the ladder that he spun. This is indeed a fairy tale. And here are the king's guards out over here. And they don't know what's happening. And see the guards with their swords all around the turrets at the top. These are great pictures. I'll read one more page and then we'll take a break because it's already more than 15 minutes. But this page is kind of fun. She's out on a farm feeding chickens and sheep, and they have rows of crops. And on this page, you see the farms and the king's wagon or somebody's wagon, cows. We'll read the story and see what happens. Meredith and Rumpelstiltskin lived a quiet country life, raising chickens and growing vegetables. Every now and then, when they needed something they couldn't make or grow, Rumpelstiltskin would spin up a little gold to buy it with. Now they had a daughter, and she was just as sunny and clever as you would imagine. As you would expect her to be, having such devoted parents. When she was 16, they decided she ought to see more of the world, so every now and then they allowed her to take the gold into town, to exchange it for coins to do a little shopping. The goldsmith grew curious about the pretty country girl who came in with those odd coils of gold. He mentioned it to his friend the baker, who mentioned it to the blacksmith, who mentioned it to the tax collector, who hurried to the palace and told the king. Oh dear. It may not surprise you to learn that the king hadn't changed a bit. As a listener, I read it wrong. As he listened, his eyes glittered. I once knew a miller's daughter who could make gold like that, he said. Unfortunately, she got away. Let's make sure this one doesn't. So the next time Rumpelstiltskin's daughter went to see the goldsmith, 2 of the king's guards were waiting for her. In a red-hot minute, she was in a carriage and speeding toward the palace, and what she saw on the way broke her heart. Everywhere the fields lay barren. Sickly children stood begging beside the road. Nobody in the kingdom had anything anymore, because the king had it all. Maybe they're in Saudi Arabia. I just watched something about that country yesterday. Unfortunately, this is still too common. Look at their fields. They're growing and everything, but here, barren fields. Okay, we're going to continue this book in part 2. I'm liking this book. This is good. Okay, sweetie pie, we'll take a little break now. I love you to bits, and we'll read that book again soon. Okay, bye-bye.